start with the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. So that is chapter number 17 in your NCERT textbook, unit 5, human physiology. So the chapter is breathing and exchange of gases. Let's begin with the introduction of the chapter. So we know that every cell requires a constant supply of oxygen. Now the oxygen is carried to every cell. The cell which already gets the nutrients in the digestion, whatever gets digested has been transferred to the blood, and from the blood the digested food is taken up by the cells. So the cells have the food, but that food which contains energy has to undergo oxidation so as to release the energy, and the oxidation of the food in the cells takes place only in the presence of oxygen. So every cell requires a constant supply of oxygen. Now when the oxygen is utilized by the cell for the breakdown of the food, for the oxidation of the food, for the catabolism of the food, it produces carbon dioxide. Now this carbon dioxide is toxic. If it is in excess quantity, it produces acidic condition, and so this carbon dioxide has to be removed effectively and efficiently. And this supply of oxygen to all the cells and removal of carbon dioxide from all the cells is done by two systems. One is the circulatory system and the other is the respiratory system. Now in this chapter we are going to deal up with the respiratory system. So I'll briefly write down some of the points. So I said that every cell requires constant supply of oxygen. Similarly, there is a need for the removal of carbon dioxide also. So there has to be removal of carbon dioxide also. So there is need for removal of carbon dioxide. There is a need for the removal of carbon dioxide. Now this supply of oxygen to all the cells and removal of carbon dioxide from all the cells is done by two systems. So this is done by two systems. This is done by two systems. And the two systems are, one is the circulatory system. Now the circulatory system we have to take up in another chapter, and the other is the respiratory system. And right now we will be taking up only this respiratory system. Now the chapter is breathing and exchange of gases. Now what exactly is this breathing and exchange of gases? So actually breathing and exchange of gases together means respiration. Now breathing is actually a very simple process in which we take in oxygen. So taking in oxygen, that is what is called as the inspiration, taking in of the oxygen, inhalation or inspiration. Now the oxygen that we take in, it enters in our lungs. So from the nostrils, the oxygen that we take in enter in our lungs. Now from the lungs, this oxygen will diffuse into blood. Now from the blood, every cell will take this oxygen. Now this is the cell in which the oxygen will be taken, and it will be utilized for the breakdown of the food, resulting in production of carbon dioxide. Now here carbon dioxide is produced. So oxygen is entering in the cells. I'll write carbon dioxide outside, and carbon dioxide is released from the cells. Now this carbon dioxide from the cells will again diffuse back into blood. So it will again come back into blood. Blood will carry this carbon dioxide to lungs. And from lungs, during the process of expiration or exhalation, we release out this carbon dioxide. So that is the release of carbon dioxide. Release of carbon dioxide. I will again brief it out. So during the process of inspiration, we take in oxygen. the oxygen that we take in enter in our lungs. From the lungs, this oxygen will diffuse into the blood. Blood will carry this oxygen to every cell, tissue, organ of our body. Now in the cells or in the tissues, the oxygen will be used for the oxidation of the food, resulting in production of carbon dioxide. Now this carbon dioxide will again diffuse back into the blood. From blood it will go to lungs, and from lungs it will be released out during the process of expiration. So this simple process of taking in oxygen and releasing out of carbon dioxide. So this process of taking in of oxygen and releasing out of the carbon dioxide is actually called as breathing. So this is breathing. So breathing is a simple process. It is a physical process. Just the simple process of taking in of oxygen and releasing out of the carbon dioxide is called as breathing. Now the oxygen that we have taken in has entered in the lungs, and then it gets exchanged with the blood. And carbon dioxide which has come in the blood from the cells is also exchanged in the lungs. So this exchange of gases which is taking place between the lungs and the blood. The exchange of gases taking place between lungs and blood. So this is the lungs, oxygen from lungs entering in the blood, and carbon dioxide from blood entering into the lungs. This is what is called as the external respiration. This is external respiration. Now here we have seen that once the oxygen enters in the blood, it is taken up by the cells. In the cells carbon dioxide is produced, and carbon dioxide from the cells again is released back or diffused into the blood. So this exchange of gases which is taking place between blood and cells, the oxygen from the blood entering into the cells and carbon dioxide from cells entering into the blood. So this exchange which is taking place between blood and cells is called as internal respiration. So this is internal respiration. So actually this is the exchange of gases. As I said, breathing and exchange of gases. So what is breathing? Breathing is a simple process of just taking in of oxygen and releasing out of carbon dioxide. And exchange of gases is actually the respiration. Now the exchange of gases, when it is taking place between lungs and blood, it is called as external respiration, and when it is taking place between the blood and the cells, it is called as internal respiration. Now this oxygen will be utilized by the cells for the breakdown of the food, and carbon dioxide is produced. So actually whatever process is taking place in the cell is called as cellular respiration. So this step is actually the cellular respiration. So this overall process where there is exchange of gases between the atmosphere, lung, blood, cell, this entire process is called as respiration. So respiration involves breathing and exchange of gases. So the exchange of gases which is taking place at the level of lungs, or the exchange of gases which is taking place at the level of tissues. So that is what is the respiration. So again I will revise it. So I said that every cell requires a constant supply of oxygen. Similarly, there is a need for the removal of carbon dioxide also, and the supply of oxygen to the cells and removal of carbon dioxide from the cells is done by two systems. One is the circulatory system and other is the respiratory system. Now what is this respiratory system? We will take up first what is respiration. So respiration involves breathing and exchange of gases. What is breathing? Breathing is a simple process of taking in of oxygen and releasing out of carbon dioxide. Then respiration is the exchange of gases. Now exchange of gases which takes place at the level of lungs, that is between lungs and blood, is called as external respiration, and the exchange of gases which is taking place at the level of tissues, that is between the blood and the cells, between the cells and the blood, is called as internal respiration. Now this oxygen which is taken up by the cells is used for the breakdown of the food to produce the main product, that is the energy which is stored in the form of ATP, and the byproducts like carbon dioxide and water are also produced. So the entire reaction that is taking place in the cell is called as cellular respiration. Okay. So respiration is actually a catabolic process. It is a physiological process, it is a biochemical process, it is said to be fundamental characteristics of living organisms. So what is respiration? I'll write some of the features of the respiration. So respiration is a characteristic of living organisms. So respiration is a characteristic of living organisms. So all living organisms respire. And this respiration is a physiological process. It is a physiological, life related process. It's a physiological process. Now it is actually a process in which there is a breakdown of food, and because there is a breakdown of food, we say that it is a respiration is a catabolic process. It is a catabolic process. And catabolism is a process which releases energy. So respiration is a energy releasing process. So it is energy releasing process. It is a energy releasing process. Now the energy that is released is stored in the form of energy currency. That is what is the ATP. Now we will take up a simple reaction. So it is a process in which oxidation of the food takes place. So respiration is a process which helps in oxidation, catabolism or breakdown of food. So I will take an example. Say the food, the simple food, the digested and absorbed food that has entered in the cell, say glucose. So C6H12O6. Now this is the glucose. Now in the presence of oxygen, this glucose will break down, producing water, carbon dioxide and energy, which is in the form of ATP. You can balance this reaction. So this is how there is an oxidation of the food releasing energy. Now this energy, ATP is the main product. Water and carbon dioxide are the byproducts, and the process of this intake of oxygen and releasing out of carbon dioxide is the breathing. And this overall reaction where the oxygen has entered in, then in the lungs, then blood, and the cells have utilized it, producing carbon dioxide, and this again carbon dioxide is released out. This entire exchange of the gases which is taking place at different levels is what is called as the respiration. So respiration is a characteristic feature of the living organisms. It is a physiological process, that is a life process. It is catabolic process, a breaking down process. It is an energy releasing process. It helps in oxidation of food. And here I have given an example. When glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen, it produces the main product, that is ATP, but the byproducts like carbon dioxide and water are also produced, which have to be released out from the body. Well, now we will take up the types of respiration. So respiration, I said that it is a process in which the oxygen is taken in, and after the exchange of the gases, carbon dioxide is produced, which is released out. But always respiration doesn't take place in the presence of oxygen. In higher organisms, in all higher plants and animals, respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen, but in microorganisms, in organisms, without oxygen also respiration can occur. So there are two types of respiration. So next bit we will take up, that is the types of respiration. So there are two types of respiration. One is the aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Now if the respiration takes place in the presence of oxygen, it is aerobic, and if it is without oxygen, then it is anaerobic. So what is aerobic respiration? It requires oxygen, and anaerobic, it does not require oxygen. Now in aerobic respiration, when oxygen is used, there is complete combustion or complete oxidation or complete breakdown of food. So with the help of oxygen there is complete combustion, oxidation or breakdown of food. Complete breakdown, I'll write. So complete breakdown of food. But here, as it is taking place without oxygen, there will be only partial breakdown or partial combustion of the food. So there is partial breakdown only. There is partial breakdown of food. Now in aerobic respiration, which is taking place in the presence of oxygen, where there is complete combustion of the food, so it will release more energy. So it releases more energy. For example, if one glucose molecule is oxidized, it will produce about 38 ATPs. But in anaerobic respiration, which is taking place in the absence of oxygen and where there is a partial breakdown of the food, so that will produce less energy. It will release less energy. And that is approximately 2 ATPs will be produced from one glucose molecule. Again, the site for aerobic and anaerobic respiration also is different. Aerobic respiration, the initial step of the aerobic respiration takes place in cytoplasm. So it takes place in cytoplasm, initial steps. But then it will continue in the mitochondria. So it takes place in cytoplasm and mitochondria. Mitochondria, which is the powerhouse of the cell, the main site where the energy is produced. So it takes place in cytoplasm as well as in mitochondria. But anaerobic respiration takes place only in cytoplasm. So this takes place only in cytoplasm. Well, so the two types of respirations we were discussing, one is the aerobic and the other one is the anaerobic respiration. So aerobic respiration requires oxygen, anaerobic respiration does not require oxygen. Aerobic respiration, there is complete breakdown of food, but in anaerobic respiration there is only partial breakdown of the food. Because there is complete breakdown of food in aerobic respiration, it releases more energy, that is approximately 38 ATPs will be released from one glucose molecule. And in anaerobic respiration, because there is partial breakdown of the food, it will produce less energy, that is about 2 ATPs will be produced. Now aerobic respiration initially takes place in cytoplasm and then it continues in mitochondria, but anaerobic respiration takes place only in cytoplasm. Now where does this aerobic and anaerobic respiration take place? So we will take up the examples now. Now aerobic respiration takes place in all the higher organisms, so in many plants and animals. So most of the plants and the animals, they respire aerobically. And anaerobic respiration generally takes place in some lower group of organisms, like in the microorganisms, even in some parasitic organisms, parasites. And you can find that even in our body, in some of the cells, anaerobic respiration takes place, like in our RBCs. Now RBCs respire anaerobically, that is because there is no mitochondria. There is no mitochondria. Actually our RBCs are having a special feature also, and the unique characteristic of our RBC is that they are enucleated, and so that is why they are resembling the prokaryotic cells. So it's not only the nucleus that is absent in RBC, but many cell organelles like even mitochondria is absent, and because there is no mitochondria, the anaerobic respiration which takes place in cytoplasm, that will be occurring in RBC. In fact, in our muscles also, if there is excess work in the muscles, oxygen is not being constantly supplied to the muscles, then also we will find that there is anaerobic respiration taking place in our muscles. Not always, but in muscles, anaerobic respiration takes place when there is excess work. And when there is excess work without oxygen, the food is broken down in our muscles, and that will result in the production of lactic acid. And when the lactic acid accumulates in the muscles, when there is a excess work that we are doing, lactic acid accumulates because of anaerobic respiration, and that will result in muscle fatigue. So that is the concept which we will take again in locomotion and movement. So I will just brief out now. So types of respiration. So there are two types of respiration, aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic respiration requires oxygen, anaerobic takes place without oxygen. In aerobic respiration there is complete breakdown of food, in anaerobic there is partial breakdown of food. Aerobic respiration releases more energy, while in anaerobic respiration there is less production of energy. Aerobic respiration takes place in cytoplasm as well as in mitochondria, but anaerobic respiration takes place only in cytoplasm. Aerobic respiration is seen in almost all higher plants and animals, and anaerobic respiration is seen in some microorganisms, parasites, in RBCs, and in our muscles also, only when there is excess work. Okay. Now next we will continue with the respiratory organs. We'll now see the respiratory organs in different groups of the animals. So respiratory organs. Now the respiratory organs vary in different group of the organisms. So the mechanism of respiration is also different in different group of the organisms, and that basically depends upon where that organism lives, that is the habitat of the organism, and also on the level of organization. So the mechanism of respiration vary in different group of animals, and that depends upon the habitat. As I said that it depends on habitat, that is whether it is aquatic or terrestrial, as well as it depends on habitat and level of organization. So the level of organization, that is whether it is cellular level of organization as in sponges, tissue level of organization as you can see in coelenterate, that is the Cnidaria, and in Ctenophora. Then organ level of organization found in flatworms, that is Platyhelminthes. And then organ system, the organ system level of organization, that is seen in Aschelminthes and onwards, that is in Aschelminthes, Annelida, Arthropoda, Mollusca, Echinodermata, Hemichordata and Chordata. So depending upon the level of organization and depending upon the habitat, that is whether it is aquatic or terrestrial, we will find that the mechanism of respiration is different in different group of organisms. Now some basic respiratory organs we will study here. Now in lower invertebrates, say in sponges or in coelentrates or even in some flatworms, the skin surface is used for respiration. And the cell surface, there is no special respiratory organ there, it is the cell surface respiration. So first we will see is the cell surface respiration. So here the cell itself is helping in diffusion of the respiratory gases. So that can be seen in sponges, that is porifera. It can be seen in coelenterates, that is the Cnidarians. It can be seen in even flatworms. So here we will find that the respiration occurs by the process of simple diffusion of gases through the cell surface. The second type of the respiratory organ is the skin, and if the respiration occurs by the skin, then it is called as cutaneous respiration. So cutaneous respiration. So what is this cutaneous respiration? So it is the respiration by skin. Now in this case the skin has to be thin, it should be moist, it should be richly supplied with the blood vessels, that is vascular. So if the skin is thin, it is moist and it is vascular, then skin can be used as the respiratory organs, and if the respiration occurs by skin, it is called as cutaneous respiration, and this is the respiration which we can find in some amphibians like frog. An adult frog, when it goes in the water, it will use its skin for the respiration. So it is found in amphibians. You can say the amphibians which are aquatic, the amphibians which are in the water, skin is used as the respiratory organ, and even in earthworm. So this earthworm uses the moist cuticle. It is having moist cuticle which is used for respiration. So this is the respiration with the help of the skin. Now if respiration occurs by gills, then it is called as brachial respiration. So third we will take up is the brachial. Now what is this brachial respiration? So it is the respiration by gills. Respiration by gills. And respiration by gills occurs in only aquatic animals. So it is found in aquatic animals. Now in aquatic animals, like in some aquatic arthropods and in mollusks, we can see this kind of respiration. So I am giving you the example here, that is in the aquatic arthropods, aquatic arthropoda, and mollusk also will take, and in mollusk. So in aquatic arthropoda and mollusks, gills are used for respiration, and that is what is called as the brachial respiration. Now the most common respiratory organ in all the terrestrial animals is lung. So if the respiration occurs by lungs, then it is called as pulmonary respiration. So pulmonary respiration. So what is pulmonary respiration? So it is the respiration with the help of lungs. So again the lungs have to be richly supplied with the blood vessels. So vascular lungs are there, and lungs are used for respiration, then it is called as the pulmonary respiration, and that can be seen in the terrestrial animals. In terrestrial animals. In terrestrial animals, for example, reptiles, birds, mammals. So the first true land vertebrates are the reptiles. Then even the birds or the aves adapted for terrestrial life, and mammals, that is the terrestrial animals. Lungs are used for respiration, and that is what is called as the pulmonary respiration. Now there is a chapter called as the structural organization in animals, in which we have to study about cockroach, and in the cockroach the respiratory system has been mentioned, and cockroach and many such insects, they have a special respiratory system called as the tracheal system. So what is this tracheal system? Tracheal system is actually a network of white silvery tubes called as the trachea in the body. So in the body of the cockroach you will find white silvery color tubes called as the trachea. These trachea communicate to the outside with the help of openings called as the spiracles. So these spiracles are actually allowing the air to enter in and to get out, and these spiracles are almost similar to the nostrils of we people, and that tracheal system which is found in some insects like in cockroach. So in insects there is a special respiratory system called as the tracheal system. So in insects, for example in cockroach, the tracheal system is used for respiration. So we have seen that the respiratory organs vary in different group of the organisms depending on habitat and level of organization. So if the cell surface is used for the respiration, like in sponges, that is in the lower invertebrates like sponges, coelentrates and flatworms, we will see that the cell surface is used for respiration, where the exchange of gases occurs by the process of simple diffusion across the cell surface. Now in some amphibians and earthworm, skin is used for respiration, and if the respiration occurs with the help of skin, it is called as cutaneous respiration. Respiration, if it occurs with the help of gills, it is called as brachial respiration, which is seen in aquatic animals like in the aquatic arthropoda and mollusca. If respiration occurs by lungs, it is called as pulmonary respiration, and lungs are the respiratory organs in terrestrial animals like in the reptiles, birds and mammals. And tracheal system is a special respiratory system found in insects as in cockroach, where the tubes directly connected to every cell we can see. Okay, so this is one about the respiratory organs. The next bit we will take up is the human respiratory system.